Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now we are finally beginning to see the first breakout from this massive symmetrical triangle pattern here on the daily time frame, and we are also seeing prices break above key resistance here in the shorter term, which I'll be talking more about later in this video, so definitely stick around. First of all, just giving you a quick update on the 4-hour Bitcoin to US dollar chart. And right now, as of recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is running into the top end of this range of resistance, which goes up towards around 16.9K. So we still need to actually break above 16.9K in order to flip even more bullish here. But until then, I'll still be remaining somewhat cautious while the price is still below 16.9K. But if we eventually see a confirmed break above 16.9K and ideally flip that into new support again, then the next resistance would be coming into play at around 17.3K to 17.4K. So basically a confirmed break above 16.9K would signal the next leg to the upside in the shorter term. And now when it comes to the immediate short-term trend in both the price and the price oscillators, things are still looking more bullish than bearish in the shorter term, as I've also been talking about over the last few days, because obviously here in the immediate short term, the price is forming higher lows and higher highs, which is a sign of a short-term uptrend. And at the same time as that, we are also seeing an uptrend in the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI and of course some bullish momentum, although as of right now, we're not seeing a massive amount of bullish momentum like this, for example. So based on all of that information, one of the most likely scenarios in the shorter term is more mild bullish price action, kind of like what we've been seeing over the last few days. But just keep in mind, the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI is getting very close to overbought territories. So if this begins to enter into overbought territories, that basically means we have limited room to the upside in the immediate short term, and we're due for a bit of a short-term cool-off. But as of right now, this hasn't yet happened, but it is getting close, so just keep an eye out for that. And just so you know, a short-term cool-off to help reset the RSI doesn't necessarily mean we have to reverse into another bearish trend, because for example, we saw the RSI enter into overbought territories back here towards the beginning of December, and if you're looking at what happened right after that in the price action, we saw a slight pullback and a lot of choppy sideways price action over the next few days before continuing a little higher later on. So basically, if the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI starts getting closer towards overbought territories, then like I said, that would be a signal telling us that we're due to see a short-term cool-off, which is basically a bit of a pause from this bullish trend that we're seeing here in the shorter term. And now if you zoom into the 2-hour Bitcoin chart, over the last one day, the price of Bitcoin has finally hit the full technical price target for this inverse head and shoulders pattern, which was sitting at around 16.9K. So obviously, congrats to those of you who took this trade, because clearly if you entered a long position at this breakout or even at this retest right here, you've done very well with this trade, especially if you took it all the way to this price target or even the other price target at 16.8K approximately. But anyway, now that the Bitcoin price has crossed over 16.9K, this inverse head and shoulders pattern is completely finished. It has already played out. And while we're here on the 2-hour Bitcoin chart, the RSI here on this time frame is still remaining above this ascending line of support. So while this remains to be the case, I'm still more bullish than bearish in the short term in terms of the trend. But if we start to see a break below this uptrend line of support in the 2-hour Bitcoin RSI, then that will be a signal that the trend is potentially reversing. But as of right now, we're still in a short-term bullish trend. It's just if the RSI gets too close to overbought territories, then that tells us we could be due to see a bit of a cool-off, kind of like what we saw here, but we still remained in this short-term bullish trend. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this right here is the 4-hour ETH to US dollar chart, and obviously over the last one day, we have finally seen a successful breakout above this important resistance in the shorter term, which is sitting at around 1220 to 1230. So that should now be acting as new support for the price of ETH. So now when it comes to resistance, we have this range of resistance, which is starting at around 1,280. And this range of resistance actually goes all the way up towards around 1,330 approximately. But if you want a more specific level within this price range, 1.3k has acted as a lot of resistance in the past right here. So moving forward, I will definitely be keeping an eye on that 1.3k level, potentially acting as some strong resistance. And on top of that, if you're bringing out the Fibonacci retracement tool from this swing high to this swing low, we actually have the golden pocket level of resistance starting at around 1270, so just below this range of resistance. So once again, if you want some more specific levels of resistance, I'll mainly be watching 1,270 and 1.3k as some specific levels of resistance to pay attention to. And now if you're looking at the 4-hour Ethereum price oscillators, the RSI is still in an uptrend and the MACD is still showing some bullish momentum, which are technically looking more bullish than bearish right now for these price oscillators. But despite the fact that we're obviously in a short-term bullish trend, the RSI here on the 4-hour time frame has entered well into overbought territories, which, like I said earlier, is a strong signal on the chart telling us that we're due to see a short-term cool-off, because basically the price has gone too far to the upside too quickly, and it is now a little too overheated in the short term. And like I said, we're due to see a short-term cool-off, which can either play out in the form of some sideways price action or a slight pullback in the price. Because if the RSI is overbought, both bearish price action and sideways price action can help reset the RSI back down towards neutral levels. And when that eventually happens, this can potentially give us some more room to the upside later on, depending on how far the RSI goes to the downside. If we begin to break the higher low structure and come back below this previous low, then that would be a signal of a possible trend reversal. But until we see bearish confirmation signals like that, we are still looking more bullish than bearish in terms of the trend. It's just we're due to see a bit of a cool off within this bullish trend, kind of like what we saw a few days ago right here. And now if you zoom all the way out to the daily time frame for the ETH to Bitcoin chart, right now the price of ETH when valued in Bitcoin is breaking out to the upside, finally beginning the breakout for this massive symmetrical triangle pattern here on the daily time frame. And in case you're wondering, this symmetrical triangle pattern has actually been forming ever since around September to October last year. So this has been forming for quite a few months now. And on top of that, we've also seen a massive downward sloping line of resistance forming in the daily RSI for the ETH to Bitcoin chart over the last few months. And we are now finally beginning to see a massive breakout above this important resistance, not only in the RSI, but also in the price action. And so technically speaking, this is a strong bullish signal for the price of ETH versus Bitcoin, which basically means ETH is likely going to outperform Bitcoin moving forward in terms of the trend right here. So of course, this doesn't necessarily mean every single day over a certain time period, but potentially over the coming weeks to potentially over the coming month or so, it's more likely than not, based on this breakout, that Ethereum will do slightly better than Bitcoin. Because in case you're new to all of this, if the ETH to Bitcoin chart goes up, that means ETH is basically gaining more in percentage terms against the US dollar versus Bitcoin against the US dollar. But if this chart goes to the downside, then that basically means Ethereum is underperforming against Bitcoin. So obviously, like I said, we're seeing a strong breakout above resistance in both the price action and the RSI, which is basically telling us that we're likely going to see Ethereum outperform Bitcoin at least for a little while. And if you want to know how to maximize your profits in crypto, whether the price is going to the upside, to the downside, or simply chopping around sideways, then make sure to check out these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left is a complete step-by-step tutorial showing you how to trade crypto with and without leverage, and the video in the bottom left shows you how to make money in crypto if the price is chopping around sideways. But anyway, that's all that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.